right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the HeadHunters Northwest podcast. Today, I am very excited to have Brenda Weatherby, the Director of People and Culture for Weatherby. And it's going to be a really interesting podcast. I think it may be one of our probably most downloaded and listened to because, at least in my mind, Weatherby's one of those really cool companies that I think it's hard to get all the information on because it's a privately owned company, and you guys moved a couple of years ago from California to Wyoming, which is just in itself was a big release at SHOT Show and a big announcement, but such a cool decision. So welcome, Brenda, and we would love to hear about Weatherby and tell us a little bit about what's going on there with your move. You're all settled in Sheridan now?
Yes, thank you, Shailene. It's great to be here. Yeah, we moved 4 years ago, just had our fourth anniversary here in this building. And it was a very, very long and big move, but so essential for our company. We look back and not knowing that COVID was going to hit. I don't think we would have.
What a blessing.
Yeah, I don't think we would have made it through. We wouldn't have been considered essential. I just don't think we would still be in business. So a lot of people say, how did you know? And I'm like, God is so good to me. So, yes, so that's really exciting. You know, when I look back also, I think one of the biggest blessings of that move, there's so many. I mean, to a wonderful state, wonderful area, tax friendly, business friendly, all that stuff. Be able to you know, build a new team, build a new culture, all of that. I also, you know, you said the privately owned family business. So it's all amongst business owners, especially second, third, or fourth generation business owners. It's pretty much you're kind of doomed to fail. You're like, well, what generation is going to kill this business? So whenever you're talking to another business owner, it's like, well, how are you doing? Are we going to make it?
Yeah.
I think what the move did for Adam and I is it gave us the opportunity to feel like a first generation entrepreneur.
Yeah. I never thought about that, but I bet it did.
I mean, we had to bare bone it all the way down. You know, we went from 70 employees to 12. Wow. And during that, there were times when we thought for sure someone was coming, and then they came into our office and said, I'm so sorry. I thought I was coming, but I'm not. At that moment, Adam and I, like literally, we had like 4 or 5 that were pretty key members that we were relying on for some just intellectual property, right? Just to like really know what we were doing. And we looked at each other and we said, okay, we need to divide this business in half between you and me, because we're the only 2 we know that are coming.
Yeah.
And we were really serious. Like at that point, I was only doing HR and leadership training, which is my love and passion. But I realized we didn't know who was coming. So I took on facilities, customer service, and compliance along with HR. That was not a very mentally stable year or 2 of my life.
That's a big commitment, though.
Huge. Yeah.
And what a great experience, because, you know, I would have never known to ask you about that. And until this minute, I did not realize you'd gone from 70 to only 12. And, you know, it was seamless, I think, really more than it felt like to you guys. Yes. But, you know, I think actually looking back from what my perception was of Weatherby, you know, pre-California days to now, it's so much more complete. It's more whole. It's more like the rifles, you know, that you're such a part of for women. And it's just such a whole package now. I think it's come into its own. Sheridan is where it seems like it was supposed to be.
Yes, I think there's a very magical fit between Weatherby and Sheridan, not just Wyoming, but Sheridan.
Yeah.
It's a very authentic, it's brought us authenticity like we've never had before. So just truly Western hunting premium brand with the mountains right at our back door. And we're actually using them right outside our back door, so it has really helped us be a very, very authentic company. Our employees, I would say 80% of them are hunters, and the other 20 are trying to learn.
Yeah, that's
where
great.
In California, we didn't have that,
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it was so much harder and more expensive. And well, there's just so many dynamics. We don't want to digress and give Gavin Newsom any more ammunition that he needs. Yes. But okay, so let's talk about your employees. Actually, let's talk about your culture, because I think Weatherby, the brand, is such a premium brand, and like, this whole package, and it's just really a special company in our industry. I don't think of Weatherby and 6 other brands. I think of Weatherby standing on its own. It's just me. I'm only a recruiter, but tell me about the culture and the mission that you guys have there, so people understand what you're joining when you join as an employee there.
For sure. So our mission statement has remained the same for the last probably 15 years. We exist to inspire the dreams of hunters and shooters. So that really didn't change, that vision, mission. But and also our value statement is professionalism, passion, teamwork, and integrity. Those didn't change, but how those are lived out in our new team is different. So we've really concentrated on the employee experience, from not just onboarding, but actually the whole recruiting experience.
That's good.
Which has been I'll go back. The move kind of forced me with this, because when we moved and announced the move, we had 3,500 applications for 50 positions.
Wow. Holy cow.
Again, at that moment, I had signed up to do HR, facilities, customer service, and compliance. And I literally was like, how in the world am I even going to read 3,500 applications?
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. I did still have an HR representative kind of in California trying to keep my temporary employees going over there.
Yeah.
And I just hired a new gal here, and it was horrible. And I still have people today. I applied when you moved and I never even got a response. And I'm like, I am so sorry. That's not how we do it now. I had one of those fancy systems that streamlined it and helped you stay organized. So we have implemented all of that. And I have, I have an HR manager under me, and also a HR assistant, and he does a lot of recruiting, really talking to the employees from the very first onset, back and forth before we'd even have an interview. They know his name, hear his voice, and just really try to kind of paint this picture of belonging to a team, belonging to a family.
Fantastic.
It has to be a win-win. It has to be a give and take, right? Because I need certain things from my employees, and I need to be very upfront about what those expectations are. But when that is clearly communicated, and you find the right person, then I get to give all the great things that come along with employment. So it is very much a team, give and take type of relationship. A lot of times during the recruitment time, I'm not talking people out of it, but I'm kind of like, are you sure? Like, you're going to move halfway across the country. Do you really want to be here?
Good.
Because it's a big move for people and families, and, all that comes with that, so every interview to me is, I'm interviewing them, but they should be interviewing me to make sure.
That's a good point.
This is a right fit for them, So.
Yeah. And people moving to Sheridan or anywhere else for that matter is a higher risk for them as well as for the employer. And it is good to say, are you sure? Because if people haven't been there and haven't experienced all the different challenges with living somewhat remotely, not in a bigger city, they need to experience that, and they don't know what they don't know yet. And I think it's really good that I like that you have a contact right in the beginning that people can go back and refer to, because that immediate connection with someone is so important.
Yeah, this winter has been extremely difficult to recruit because we've been buried in snow.
Yeah.
We have literally had quite a few out of the area recruits come in for interviews, and we're like all praying, oh, please don't snow tonight. Like, can the sun come out? Can they at least see the mountains? So we've had quite a few turned down, and they're just like, I just don't know if my family can handle that winter, or it's been challenging. This is the worst winter we've had since moving here. Some people say the worst in 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, I got through the worst one. So,
well, be glad you don't live in Rawlings or Riverton. I mean, they're really hammered. So, I mean, every time I check the apps for the road conditions before I leave to drive to Denver, I look around and I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to move to Rawlings because they're closed again.
Yep, they are.
But it's a give and take, though. If you want to live the lifestyle, then it's hard work. And, there just isn't, all the conveniences that you can get in, say, a city the size of Denver. You're not going to get in a city the size of Sheridan. But on the other side of the coin, you have great hunting right out your back door, and you can breathe fresh air. And, so, I mean, people have to know it comes with a trade-off, but Sheridan is a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to have kids. They can go outside and play, and, it's a relatively safe city.
Yes. It's a very small town. We don't have all the amenities, but you get good at Amazon or your monthly billings. But it is a small town. Like, there's so many people who are like, this town reminds me of the town I grew up in. And a lot of people are like, I really want that. And we don't see those type of towns any longer. The one high school town that everyone goes to the football game and the rodeo, and so it's a really special place. The access to the mountains is unbelievable. Weekend hunts, everywhere else, if you want to go hunting, you have to take off all week to go.
Yeah.
And my employees, they can leave Friday afternoon and be up there all weekend and get back for Monday.
Yeah.
So it does also help in people being able to live the lifestyle and also be a, very reliable employee. So,
yeah. So tell us a little bit about what kind of jobs that you guys are hiring for, or what kind of positions you're looking to bring people in and groom them. And, I'm sure there's lots of career opportunity, because every time I look around, I see lots of Weatherbys, and I don't know, I have a little list myself to add that I might need to buy some more. So, I mean, you guys have great products. There's not a single person that doesn't like your rifles and doesn't want to own one or more. So I know the company will continue growing. What kind of talent are you looking for, and what should people, watch your website for? Because we're going to put a link on this podcast, and they'll be able to click right to that employment page too.
Great. Well, we're always looking for, entry-level factory workers. There are shop personnel. That's always. And right now we have quite a few new products coming out in the summer or fall. And so that means increased needs for people putting firearms together, painting our stocks, doing our carbon fiber stocks, all of that. So that's always there. Usually we get most locals for that, but we have hired out of the area for that as well.
Okay.
And then some higher level positions, more specialized. We are looking for a manufacturing engineer right now.
Good. That's a great job. And there are people that come with that experience. So any manufacturing engineers really need to listen up.
Yes. So we have 2 manufacturing engineers right now, and they're looking to add a third. A lot of new processes on the floor, which are really exciting. Lots of our machining centers growing, so that capability is increasing. So a lot of programming needs, and we've added 2 different robots, so a lot of automation needs. So that's really exciting. The other one is a manufacturing planner, and that's a really strategic role for us. We've never had a dedicated planner. And if you think about it, in California, we were less of a manufacturer. We we did a lot of assembly, but we weren't cutting metal or doing additive manufacturing like with our stocks. And so the planning necessity to have that more in a central hub, working with all of our different things and increasing our efficiency with machine time, labor, and just getting pure guns in and out of the door is
what a fun job. That would be really fun. You would never be bored, and there's always something to improve on. That seems like a really tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, so we are currently taking applications for the manufacturing planner. We have an accountant role that's open, so we're really excited about that. Good. Just building our finance team. We've always been a very lean team on top, especially in the finance realm. We just have people who do more than maybe normal. And so we've been able to have a very small team. We had the exact same number of team members with a 100% growth. And so we're now adding another accountant.
Good. And an accountant could come from anywhere. They wouldn't have to come from the firearms industry. This would be a great chance for someone who has some basic accounting experience, maybe a bachelor's in accounting, that would want to join your team and learn about the industry.
Yep, for sure.
That's great. And those folks are so important to getting the data you need to be able to keep Weatherby growing.
Yes, yes. So
that's great.
Those are our main positions that are open right now.
And there's several more on the link you sent me. So this will always be being updated. I think what I've seen, Weatherby's very good about keeping you, obviously, and your team are good at keeping things updated. So no matter when you hear this podcast, if you're listening to this, definitely click on the link and go and look at their employment page, because that's constantly being refreshed.
Yes. Yep. And, if an application comes in, we usually let them kind of pile up for about a week or.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, like about a week, because we want to kind of see what the pool is, a week, maybe 2 weeks max. And then we kind of run through, and you will always get a response. Remember how I didn't give anyone responses?
Yeah. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Even if you are not considered for the position, you always get a response back. And then if we're going to take the next step with your application, then you would know that as well. We take you through that step. So.
And real people are behind those computer programs looking at those things.
Yes.
Real live people, which is really cool, because that doesn't always happen.
Of course.
That's great. So what do you see as far as you've been in the industry for some time and seen things changing? What's coming for Weatherby? You noted a couple new products, but are there any things you could talk about that are coming for Weatherby that people should watch for?
In the product realm, I don't know if anyone's going to let me say anything about that.
Don't get in trouble. I also wanted to ask you about the rifles that you were a big part of designing for women. Could we talk about that a little bit?
Definitely talk about that.
Because I don't know that as many people know about that as they should.
Yes. So in 2016, we came out with the Camilla. So first of all, we released it in the Vanguard line, so the Vanguard Camilla. And then later on, introduced it in the Mark V line. But really, this is innovated the stock shape, really. So the barreled action is exactly the same as our other Vanguards. But the stock shape, we worked with an engineering group and also about 5 or 6 kind of elite women hunters in the industry. At that time, I was kind of starting my hunting journey. So I hadn't hunted that much. So we brought on some other women. It's a really special project because when I had started working at the company, the marketing director at that time said, "Brenda, I really want you to be part of this women's launch." And I was like, I haven't really dove into all of this. I married Adam, very young, but in that history, it was kind of like the boys went out hunting and the girls didn't. And so I just followed suit. I didn't come from a hunting family.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I guess we're staying here and they're going out turkey hunting. I'm not sure. The only real hunting I did regularly was bird hunting, because Adam always wanted a bird dog. And so if the dog was being bad, then I went and picked up the birds.
Yeah.
So, but in 2016 was really a chance to really develop myself as a hunter. Alongside the development of the Camilla, which was just so exciting. Camilla comes from Adam's grandmother.
Okay,
so
I don't know that I knew that.
Camilla. Yes, that's why it's the Camilla. And later on in Camilla's life, I was her caretaker. So she lived with us for the last 2 years of her life. And she's a very special woman, very special woman. So the rifle is named after her.
That's really special.
Yeah, and the ergonomics of the stock accommodate for some women differences in the women's physique. So mostly, at least the most that I take advantage of, is the longer neck. So women have a longer neck. So normally they're hunched over that rifle and they're trying to find their sight picture and they're having a really hard time doing it. Most women will tell me, oh my gosh, as soon as I go down, I find my spot on the stock immediately.
That's awesome.
That's a huge part of it. Obviously, shorter length of pull, a little bit slimmer grip on the hand. You know, there's a negative cant, so it's kind of accommodating for our chests a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a smaller, it's a fit that feels natural.
Yeah. You know? And the reviews have been exceptional. I mean, everything I've heard about it has been very, very positive. Yeah, I would assume that I mean, I don't know what your sales have been, and I certainly don't need to know, but I know everything. I've been following along, and I certainly been in the industry when you first started that project and you released it. It's been very, very positive. And I've heard a lot of people talking about it over many years now. I can't imagine that'll go out of style.
Yeah, it's been great. You know, our first 2 years in the Vanguard, that was the highest selling SKU, was the women's rifle, because there just wasn't anything like it out there. Yeah. Now, I always tell the guys, I'm like, well, girls need 10 pairs of shoes and one or two rifles. Boys need 1 pair of shoes and 10 or 12 rifles. So, so our sales haven't stayed as strong, but I think it's kind of a resurgence as people hear about it. Yeah. And they try it and they hold it. Yeah. It's a great thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful product, and the reputation is, you know, is solid. So it'll just keep growing, I'm sure. And it's like, you know, and with COVID having happened and people hopefully going back to family values and, you know, moving to places like Sheridan to raise their kids and getting into hunting and learning how to do those things, I can't imagine why women, first and foremost, wouldn't want to consider the Camilla, because that it is a different shape. We are a different shape. I know for me, I have even some youth rifles because I get so sick of things that are really not the right size for me.
For sure. Yep. And one other thing we loved, you know, I really wanted to bring out this rifle in the Vanguard first, because the price point of it was more approachable for women. Let's face it, like, you're like, well, I could just use my husband's, or, you know, or do I have to spend $3,000 on a Mark V? So we brought it out in the Vanguard. So first. And so it was like, no, you can have your own rifle that's perfectly sighted in for you. Yeah. And you don't, you know, and it's light and it's beautiful. And you don't have to worry about something that's not fitting you. And then we offered it in the Mark V, so that if people wanted a higher grade of wood, they wanted different caliber selections, then that they could do that. And so it's been really successful that way. And I always hate when people say, like, oh my gosh, I'd love to have a Weatherby, but I couldn't afford it. And so I'm like, I don't want that to be like a stumbling block.
You have lots of price points. Rifle. Yeah, but there's lots of price points, and maybe people just don't realize that. They should look at that, because it is such a premium brand and such a premium product. It's good you brought up that there's lots of different price points in there.
Yes, yes. So.
And I do think they need just as many rifles as they do shoes. Just just for
I
myself.
do too. But I always try to get the sales and marketing guys to get, that. Like we just have to, I think we have to bring them into the conversation and have them enjoy that experience and that they take that ownership and no, I want my own rifle. Like I would never shoot Adams now. I'd be like, no way, because I have no clue where that's going to land. So I, have mine geared up and I take ownership over those. And I think that's a big part of being a female hunter, that you're invested, so it's a good time.
I mean, look at Harley Davidson, they market to mostly women, and women, I had my own bike. I wouldn't even consider sitting on the back of a bike. So for me, when we go somewhere, and my husband does go with me occasionally to work things, it's very often we buy 2 rifles, not just one, because I want my own. Sure. So yeah, I think it makes total sense to have a specific tool for the specific use. It's no different than hammers. You don't have just one hammer, lots of different hammers.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate this time that you have shared with me. Thank you for this. And I would encourage all of our listeners to take a look at Weatherby's website. Make sure you look at their different options, and then take a look at their employment page, because what a great place to work.
Thank you.
Great family. And it's good to see you guys whenever I travel, and it always brings a smile to my face. I know I say hi, neighbor, but in the Midwest here, it is not that far for us compared to where we normally drive. So
for sure. It's been a pleasure, Shailene. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being on our podcast. All right, everyone, we're going to end that now, and we look forward to our next podcast. Thank you, Brenda.